Good morning, everyone. So, myself, Suresh, lecturer in mechanical engineering from Government Polytechnic, Chegunta. I am going to deal with a subject called Advanced Workshop Technology, and today's major topic is from Foundry, and the subtopic is molding processes in Foundry. So, in previous class or last class or in last video, so we discussed about the molding procedure to prepare molding. Types of molding processes like grain sand molding, dry sand molding, and loam sand molding. So now we are going to discuss about the cemented bond sand molding, advantages and disadvantages, ceramic molding, and advantages and limitations of ceramic molding, shell molding, and its advantages and disadvantages. Okay, so now we are going to discuss about the cemented bonded molding. Okay, right. So this is the one of the type of molding process. So in this, the Portland cement of 10% and water 5% are added to synthetic sand. So for synthetic sand, a Portland cement of 10% and also water of 5% is to be added. Okay, so it requires this cemented bonded requires less ramming. Okay, with the help of a rammer, so we can it requires ramming process but less. So setting time is about 72 hours. So that is for 3 days. Mold has high strength and hardness. So basically, it will have a high strength and hardness. So in addition to that, so we are ramming the uh, mixture of cemented 10% and water 5% with synthetic sand. Right. Separate hoop and drag are prepared and assembled. Okay. For this type of bonded molding, a separate hoop and drag are prepared and assembled. Okay. So next, by using vent rods. So by using vent rods made for escapement of flue gases from the top surface of the molding sand, hardened molding sand. So the disadvantages are smooth surface finishes obtained by the cemented bonded molding. Next, machining is not necessary. So due to the smooth surface finish, so there is no need of the machining, and also the it get an accurate component. So next, most of sand can be reused. Almost o- total sand will be reused. Next is disadvantages. Disadvantages of cemented bonded molding. So it's very difficult to knock out of the flask. Okay, it's very difficult to knock out of the flask. That is the breakage of the flask of this type of sand. Next, applications. The following casts are produced. So employed for small to large castings. Okay, this is applicable for small castings to the large castings. So next topic is a ceramic molding. Okay, ceramic molding. So the ceramic molding employs a metal pattern. Okay, here we are using a metal pattern, which Yeah. So next is ceramic molding. Okay. So it's employed for metal pattern. Okay. So metal pattern is kept in the flask. Okay. So molding flask. So in the center of the pattern. So thick slurry of refractory metal is applied on pattern. So I have to apply the slick slurry of the refractory material to overcome from the stickiness of the molding sand. So slurry consists of a fine-grained zircon and silica. Okay, so it consists of a fine-grained zircon and a silica. So in this molding, in this ceramic molding, so coarse baking slurry is filled in the flask. So what you are filling? Here we are filling the coarse baking slurry is filled in the flask. Okay, next, and it is used to set up within 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, it don't doesn't take long time, so it's set up time within 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, next the pattern is then the pattern should be withdrawn from the drag pattern. So the drag the ceramic mold is removed from the flask, then break in the uh, flask. Then we can remove the ceramic molding from the flask. Next, it is treated with a chemical catalyst. Catalyst. Okay, it is treated with a chemical catalyst. So it is heated at 980 degrees centigrade. Okay, which is the temperature for to heat the ceramic molding. Okay, or to prepare the components for this ceramic molding. Next, the molten metal is poured in mold. The molten metal, the liquid state metal will be poured in the mold cavity. Okay, so then after it is make them into solidification and remove the casting from the flasks. So you can see here. So in this figure, it shows all the procedure. So bottom one is the drag flask and top one is cope. So here we are using the cope and drag. Next, so between the cope and drag, wait. Right. So you can see here. So this is the ceramic molding diagram. If you observe this, the entire thing will be known. So next topic is the advantages of ceramic molding. You can see here. So the first advantage is produce casting of highest precision and extremely high surface finish. Okay, that will be the first advantage of ceramic molding. Okay, next, so no machining is required. Okay, so casting produced does not require machining. Okay, so that is no machining is required. Next, so all types of metals can be casted. That is, so it is a process is suitable for all types of cast metals, including highly reactive metals, okay, such as titanium and uranium. Okay, so these type of metals are suitable to for all types of casting metals. Next, so intricate shapes or intricate castings with thin sections can be produced. Okay, so these are the Four advantages of ceramic molding. So next is disadvantages of ceramic molding. So next first we can see. So this process is very expensive. Okay, the process is expensive because the mold materials are costly, because the mold metals are costly and not reusable. That's why. So it is an expensive process. Next, so defects at parting line may occur. Okay, so likely to be produced parting line defects. Okay, next the applications. The applications of ceramic molding. Okay, the following castings are produced. The process is intended to produce sound casting free. Okay, sound casting free form. So non-metallic inclusions. So it is suitable for production of extension dies. Okay, so it is suitable for production of extension dies, die casting dies. Next, impellers for pumps, parts for atomic reactors. Okay, next, structural components for aerospace industry, etc. Okay, so parts weighing as much as 700 kg can be made by this process. Okay, so next one will be a shell molding. So this process was invented by Jenny's Coroning, and it is sometimes called as Coroning or C process. So this shell process is also called as a Croning process or C process. So it is basically a sand molding in which the clay is replaced by resins. Okay, so in which the clay is replaced by resin bonding agent. Okay, so this process is illustrated and consists of the following steps. You can see here. So preparation of thin layers. Okay, so preparation of thin shell made of a mixture of sand and thermosetting resins. Okay, so thermosetting resins around a heated metal pattern. Okay, next, a separating the shell from the pattern material. Next, so clamping two halves of the shells to form a mold. That is, two halves shells are clamped together to form a mold. Next, preparation of a thin shell. Okay, in the shell molding only. So how we are preparing the thin shell. Okay, say fine silica sand is thoroughly mixed with about 5% thermosetting resin binder. Okay, so it is mixed with 5% of uh, thermosetting resin binder such as phenol formaldehyde and placed into a container or dump box. Okay, then the metal pattern plate is heated about 250 degrees centigrade in an oven and is clamped to the top of the dump box. Okay, next, the metal patterns incorporate ejector pins. You can see in this figure. So the metal patterns incorporates ejector pins to facilitate stripping of the stripping of the complete completed mold. Okay, the dump box is inverted so that the sand resin mixture covers the pattern. Okay, after about 30 seconds, okay, after about 30 seconds, the resin cures and the shell is formed. Okay. Next, separating the shell. So how we are separating the shell from pattern? You can see here. Okay. Okay, this is a diagram of a separating the shell from the pattern. Right. The dumb box is reversed to original position. Okay. The dumb plate is returned to its original position, and the surplus resin mixture falls back into the box. Okay, that is the surplus sand mixture falls back into the box. The pattern plate is removed. Okay, and the shell is released by the ejector pins. Okay, so the shell pattern is removed by the released by the ejector pins or ejected out. Next, the shells are light and thin. Okay, the shells are light and thin. So usually 5 to 10 mm thick. Okay, so this is the separation of the shell. So next one is mold formation. Okay, mold formation in shell molding. Okay, you can see here. So this is the diagram of a molding formation in shell molding. Okay, right. The shell is further hardened by final curing of for a few minutes of about 320 degrees centigrade. Okay, the shell is further hardened by a final curing for a few minutes about 320 degrees centigrade. Okay, next, the two hulls are joined together by adhesive to form the mold. Okay, then it is placed in a suitable box and is supported by coarse sand or steel shots held in a box. Okay. Next, the mold is ready. The mold is ready. The molten metal is poured into the shell mold. Okay. Next, after after solidification, the castings are removed from the sand. Okay. Next, advantages of shell molding. Okay, what are the advantages of shell wall molding? So, accurate castings with good surface finish. Okay, good surface finish. So that is, produce accurate castings with very good surface finish. Okay, next. So, in most cases, so measuring operation is not required. In most of the cases, the measuring operation is not required because the size are very close enough to acceptable. Okay, that is the reason. So because the sizes are very close enough to acceptable. Okay, so next advantage is, so the thin wall sections can be produced. Okay, so thin wall sections can be produced. Next, so small core holes can be produced. Okay, so small core holes can be produced or created. Next, shells can be stored for long time and can be reused. Okay, so the shells can be stored for a longer time and can be reused. That is repeatedly. So next one is disadvantages. Okay, so first disadvantage is cost of the metal pattern is high. Okay, the cost of the metal pattern is high, and the next is cost is cost of resin is high. Okay, next, so many equipments and control facilities are needed. Okay, so many equipments and control facilities are needed. Next, casting size and weight are limited. So actually we have four disadvantages. So here you mention only, so I mentioned only three. Okay. So next one is the application of shell molding. So where we can apply this shell molding, we can discuss now. Okay. So shell molding is used for making the fine castings. Okay. It is used for making the fine castings of ferrous and non-ferrous metals. Okay. That is process suitable for all casting metals. Okay. Next, in practically adapted for the casting, that range from few grams to 25 kgs. Okay, so in practically adapted, the casting of size for few grains from few grams to 25 kg can be produced. Next, so next is shell molding applications includes small machine parts. Okay, so requiring high precision, that is gear housing, cylindrical heads, and connecting rods. So these parts can be produced. Okay. Next, the process is also used in producing high precision molding cores. Next, need of special casting methods. So need of special casting methods. You can see here. Right. So first one is sand molds are broken after casting. Next, sand molds are not used for mass production. Third, special casting methods can be used for mass production and good surface finish is obtained. Okay. Next one is die casting. So next will be die casting. Okay. Right. We can see here. So die casting involves use of a permanent metal molding or dies. Okay. So these die casting involves use of a permanent metal molds or dies. Okay. So the die is made in two holes. Okay, the die is made in two holes and are closed to form the cavity. Okay. Next, the principle of die casting. Okay, you can see here. So principle of die casting. Right. The principle of die casting. You can see. Okay. The pressure dice castings involves the forcing the of molten metal into die cavity under pressure and maintain the pressure until it's solidates. Okay. Next, a ram is used for opening and closing the tie halves. Okay. So here we are using the ram. Okay, for opening and closing the die halves, and ejector pins automatically ejects the castings as a die is opened. Next, if the object is made is small, okay, if the object is made is small, the die may be constructed on a multi-cavity plan. Okay, that is multiple cavity die. Okay, so by which it is possible to produce several parts in several cycles. Okay, next, in pressure die casting, no riser is needed in the mold. Okay, there is no need of the riser in the mold, but very small vents are very small vents are provided at the parting line of the die holes. Why? In order to allow the escape of flue gases. Okay. Next, applications. You can see here. The die casting process was developed in the early 1900s. Okay, so it is employed for the producing of small and medium sized castings of low melting point. Okay, no melting point, non ferrous alloys. Okay, so these are the applications of die casting. Next, advantages of die casting. So large number of identical parts can be quickly produced. Okay, so resulting in low unit cost. Okay, next, so parts with extremely fine finishes. So that is high finish and close dimensions. Okay, so closer dimensional tolerance can be obtained, eliminating machining operations. Next, third one is, so very complex shapes may be produced with comparative easy. Okay, so very complex shapes can be produced with comparative easy. Next, so mechanical properties of die castings are superior to sand castings. Okay, so superior mechanical properties, that is nothing but, so mechanical properties of die castings are superior to the sand castings. Next, so thin sections may be cast. Okay, thin section may be obtained, and the holes may be cored accurately. Okay, next is disadvantages. Okay, we can see here. So tooling cost is high. Okay, tooling cost is high. Only economical for mass production. Okay, only economical for mass production. Okay, next, the range of metal suitable for die casting is limited. Okay, the range of metal suitable for die casting is limited. Next, the size of castings produced is limited. Okay, the size of castings produced is limited. Next, no flexibility of processing conditions. Okay, there is no flexibility of processing conditions. So next is types of die castings. You can see here. So what are the different types of die castings? Okay, so first one is hot chamber, die casting machine. That is hot chamber machining operated by plunger, hot chamber machining operated by compressed air. Okay, so these are the types of die castings. Okay, so next is cold chamber machine, and the last one is vacuum die casting machine. Okay, so vacuum die casting machine. We can see here now. Now we can see the hot chamber die casting. Okay, right. So the die casting machine consists of hot chamber, ejection system, die cavity with gooseneck cylindrical passage. Okay, so this is the line diagram of a hot chamber die casting machine. You can see that. Observe the figure. Okay, so firebox, metal pot, metal, gooseneck, die, air, and operating link. Okay, so this is the diagram of a hot chamber die casting. Okay, you can see now. The molten metal is heated in hot chamber method. Okay, so in hot chamber method, the the mortar metal is heated. Next, the gooseneck cylinder with ram is placed in hot chamber. Okay, so the gooseneck cylinder with ram is placed in hot chamber. Next, another end of gooseneck is joined to die cavity. Okay, the other end of the gooseneck is connected to the die cavity. Next, the molten metal enters into gooseneck cylinder through ports. Okay, you can see here. Okay, so the molten metal is poured the into the gooseneck cylinder through the ports. Next, so when the plunger downwards, the ports are closed. Okay, when the plunger moves downwards, the ports are closed. The molten metal is then the molten metal is forced into the die cavity. So when the plunger moves downwards direction, the ports are closed. Then the molten metal is forced into the die cavity. Okay. Next, the force is applied at a pressure of 14 megapascals. But in our textbook, yeah, okay, right. The mortar metal is forced into a die cavity at a pressure of 14 megapascals. Okay, next, the cooling is done by circulating the water. Okay, by circulating the water, the cooling is done in this process. Next, after solidification, the casting is ejected by the ejector pits. Okay, so after solidification, the castings are ejected at a rapid rate. Okay, at the same time, the plunger moves up and uncovers the port, and as a result, the molten metal enters into the cylinder. Okay, then the above operation is repeated in cyclic order. Next, air operated die casting. Okay, right. In this machine, the molten metal is forced into a die cavity at a pressure of 4.2 megapascals. Okay, so the molten metal is forced into a die cavity at a pressure of 4.2 megapascals. So in previously in hot chamber die casting, the pressure is of about 14 megapascals. But here, the molten metal is forced into the die cavity at a pressure of 4.2 megapascals. Next, the machine is provided with a suitable mechanism to raise or lower the gooseneck. Okay, next, which is submerged into the pot carrying molten metal. Okay, next, in operation, the gooseneck is lowered to receive the molten metal from the pot. Okay, next, then it is raised up and held in position against the nozzle. Okay, against the nozzle. The compressed air blown into the gooseneck pot forces the molten metal into the die cavity. Okay, next, after solidification, after solidification, after solidification, the casting is ejected by the ejected pins. The gooseneck again lowered. The die closed, and the whole cycle is repeated. Okay, so we can see the diagram of a line diagram of a air operated die casting. Okay, if you observe the figure here, you will know. So Firefox, metal pot, metal die, a plunger, hydraulic cylinder, port. Okay, so all these are the parts of air operated die casting machine. Okay, so next one is a vacuum die casting. Okay, so vacuum die casting. So right, so this vacuum die casting machine is similar to hot chamber. Okay, hot chamber and cold chamber die casting machines. So this vacuum die casting is similar to the hot chamber and cold chamber die casting machines. But the air is completely evacuated. Okay, the air is completely evacuated from the die cavity. Okay, so this prevents the formation of blowholes. Okay, this prevents the formation of blowholes and other similar defects. Okay, so that is the vacuum die casting. Okay, so I think there is no figure here. Okay, so next one is cold chamber die casting. Okay, cold chamber die casting. So cold chamber die casting machines are usually employed for the alloys of aluminum, magnesium, and copper. Okay, so this is usually employed for the alloys of aluminum, magnesium, and copper. So in this process, the metal is melt. Okay, in this process, the metal is melted in a separate furnace. Okay, then transferred into the die cavity machine, where a measured quality is fed into injection cylinder. Okay, next, the molten metal is forced from the injection cylinder into the die cavity at a pressure of 440 megapascals. Okay, so by using a plunger. Next, the cold chamber process has longer operation cycle than that of the hot chamber machine. Okay, now we can see here. So this is the diagram of a cold chamber die casting. Okay, we can see the parts here. Injection, injection piston, liquid metal, that is a molten metal passes through the by the injection piston. Next, fixed pattern, fixed pattern, a movable pattern, and between movable pattern and the fixed pattern, so there are dies, two dies. Okay, which forms a mold cavity. Okay, this is a diagram of a cold chamber die casting. So next one is a permanent mold ca- casting or gravity die casting. Okay, you can also call it as the gravity die casting or a permanent mold cavity. Sorry, casting. Okay, right. So permanent mold casting refers to the process in which molten metal is transferred into your die cavity into the die cavity by gravity. Okay, the molten metal is transferred into the die cavity by gravity only. Okay, therefore it is also known as gravity die casting. Okay. Next, a permanent mold that is made of either cast iron or other metals. Okay. Permanent molds are made in two halls. Okay. The molds are coated with refractory materials and are closed. Okay. The permanent molds are made in two halves. The molds are coated with refractory materials and are closed. The okay. Next, the molten metal is poured by ladles. Okay, the molten is poured into the die cavities after solidification. Okay, after solidification of the casting, the dies are opened. Okay, the dies are opened. The, the casting is removed from dies with the help of ejector pins or ejectors. Next, you can see here. This is a diagram of a permanent mold casting or gravity die casting. Okay, we can see the parts here. So bottom one is a casting product. Okay, this one. You can see a casting and metal cores. So these are the metal cores. Next, vertical parting line. Okay, vertical parting line, screw pins, okay, gates and clamps. Okay, so permanent mold casting or gravity die casting. Okay, next, so permanent die casting is superior to sand casting. So better dimensional accuracy is okay. So better dimensional accuracy is maintained. Also, they possess uniform and good mechanical properties, and the rate of production is high. Okay. Next, it is used for small sized iron and steel castings. Okay. So steels can also be cast using the graphite or heat resistant metal molds. Okay, so permanent mold casting is usually referred as a gravity die casting. The term die casting is used for sorry, the term die casting is used for the pressure die casting. Okay, so this is the about permanent mold casting. I stop here.